Do you have a boyfriend? When did you come out and how did you come out to your parents? When did you first do it? Top or bottom? Cut on, cut. When was the last time you talked to your ex? Hello everyone, my name is Young.
And I'm Gab.
And this is
the Young and Gab Show.
Hello.
Basically, Gab visited me for the weekend in London for Pride. And we think it's gonna be a good idea to do a little unfiltered Q&A. So basically, you're gonna ask us a lot of questions about being gay, our experiences, growing up with it.
And we're gonna be talking from everything from the parental guidance to the not so parental guidance.
Okay, we call it from easy to hard. However you want to interpret the hard part. Before going to the questions, we should introduce ourselves first.
Sure.
Right, Gab? So let me introduce myself. So my name is Young. If you have never seen this channel before, I'm a tax consultant in my day job, and I'm an influencer, content creator in my night jobs. And I have been gay for a long time. So my little fun fact is that I experienced different stages of my life in different continents. I was born and grew up in Vietnam, in Asia, and then I went to uni in America, in North America, and then right now I'm living and working in the UK, in Europe.
That's where we are.
That's where we are. And right now, Gab, introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Gab. I'm a third year PhD student studying here in the UK. Basically, I'm studying how E. coli adapts to different environments, and it is a lovely job. I get to do really cool science, and I get to have fun learning as well.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm visiting Young for London Pride, and I'm having an absolutely amazing time. London is amazing, and the life here, the people, the culture, it is just something special. For my fun fact, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I'm currently a blue belt and I have been to 1 international competition so far.
Very, very cool. But do not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Gab. He's gonna wrestle you until you give up.
Hey, you know what? I like to have a bit of fun. If people want to have a little bit of a wrestle or a little bit of a grapple, I'm not gonna turn them down.
I tried wrestling with Gab several times and it didn't end well. Alright, so let's deep dive into the questions. First of all, we're gonna start with easy. Okay, these are the easy questions, and the way that we rank these questions are basically from non-personal to very personal. That's why like the hard questions are very personal to us. So please stay tuned to see all the way there. The first question is, are we dating? Cut. The second question is, am I dating Jacob Ward?
Jacob, I'll fight him for you.
Okay, the first 2 questions are already too heated, so let me take off my jacket. I am not dating Gab.
Oh.
We're very, very close friends,
Yeah.
and I respect that very much. And also, I'm not dating Jacob Ward.
Oh. Jacob, you don't have to fight me for him.
Next, how are you? Okay, this is like the first 2 questions.
I'm really good. You know what? I've had a really amazing week so far. I was recently just down in Manchester for a photo shoot. It was my sister's wedding on Wednesday, and now I'm here with Young for London Pride, and it has been an absolutely fantastic week. I'm so grateful.
I'm so glad that you're here with me because this is our 2nd year celebrating Pride London together, and we have our little traditions. So we celebrate Pride in the morning, we had our lunch with Chinese food, we had dim sum together for the 2nd year in a row, and then we just like take it easy in the afternoon. We play card games together in a park too.
It was nice and chill, and
It
we just
was.
relaxed the whole day. How are you?
I just answered. The next question is, why are you so cute?
I get it from my mama. She is just the cutest person I know. It's genetic, I
Yeah.
think.
Based on these questions, I think the people are asking, how are you staying so youthful and young and cute? For me personally, I think it has a lot to do with nutrition, what I put into my body. For example, I had smoothie every morning. Yesterday, I made Gab a smoothie as well, but he didn't like it. I put chicken breast.
There's this really awesome book by Christopher Walker called Why We Sleep, and it goes into the science about why we sleep and how it's necessary.
But do you sleep enough, Gab? I don't think any of us sleep enough because Gab is a PhD student, also a content creator. I'm a tax accountant, also a content creator. I think we get like 8 hours sleep every night. I don't think that's possible.
You know what? We aim to have 8 hours.
We try.
We try.
That's the key word right there.
Life happens, and that's fine. Otherwise, just hydrate.
Just drink a lot of water.
Lots of water.
Okay, next. Do you have an OnlyFans?
Drum roll.
No!
I totally respect people who do that, but personally for us, that's not something that we would like to do, but we totally respect anyone who does it.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Should we do another drum roll?
No!
We're both single and very happily single as well.
Happily single?
We don't need a man to make us happy. We're
Yeah.
finding happiness by ourselves.
I'm learning every day to be single by myself.
And we have an amazing supportive group of friends. And we're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
We're independent.
I'm so glad we have a good support system. We have each other to support us through our singleness. Okay, let's tell them how we meet first.
Oh yeah, how did
be
we
so
meet?
cute.
So we actually met for bad reasons, but it was great timing.
Great timing. So basically, I contact Gab on Instagram because we had our breakup. We actually broke up with our boyfriends, ex-boyfriends, in the exact same times. It was tough, but I found Gab and we share a lot of mutual points. And with that, we like move on, have an amazing time together, and we drama dump each other.
We just bonded over our trauma dumps.
Those are the easy questions. Right now, let's move on to the medium questions. So first of all, Gab, can you please share, when did you have your first kiss?
My first kiss with a girl or my first kiss with a boy?
Both.
So my first kiss with a girl was in primary school. It was a girl in my class that I thought was really cute, and we kissed underneath a tree. First kiss with a boy was at 16 when I was in college, also in a park underneath a tree. So we're in a park right now.
Underneath a tree? To your best friend in a park. They might kiss.
Yes, we will.
Okay, my first kiss.
Yeah, your
Can,
first kiss.
can we talk about myself now?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
of course.
okay. So basically, I came out to my parents, and then I went on dating apps, and I met this guy, and we kissed each other on our second date. He ghosted me after the second date.
His loss.
His loss. But I was so heartbroken because that was my first time kissing a guy ever. Because for me, I romanticize first time. For everything that we do, like even now, I haven't had my first drink, and I will always imagine in my mind holding my first glass of wine on like my penthouse, looking over the window, looking over the city, and that's how I mark my first drink ever. I kept my first kiss because I want to keep it to a special person, and I waited for so long, and this guy was cute, so I gave it to him on a second date. It didn't work. But then I realized that it's okay. Everything happens for reasons, and there's a reason why people say that the first time is always not the best time, because you learn, you live, and you learn. So from that point forward, I learned not to have any unrealistic expectations anymore. And I think that's a good thing. With that, let's move to our next questions. This is one of the most anticipated questions ever. When did you come out, and how did you come out to your parents?
Ooh, this is such a good question. So I came out when I was 17 years old to my parents. For those who don't know, I grew up in a very, very religious community, and also Filipinos in general are just very religious. So we're actually one of only 2 countries where divorce isn't legal. I know, crazy, right?
So how do people divorce?
People generally don't. They either get annulments or they just separate and are still legally married. When I first came out, my family weren't the most supportive, but they eventually came to, and here we are now. I came out at 17, I'm here at 24, and I have an open and loving relationship with my sister and my mom.
So I came out to my parents when I was 22 years old. That means I lived in the UK for 2 years before I came out to my parents, and it was a little bit heartbreaking at first because I thought to myself that I have to be financially independent from my family before I came out to them, because what if they cut me up? So I was very, very pessimistic. So I came out to them on video call.
Oh, really? Over video?
Over video.
Oh my gosh.
At first, they didn't take it really well. They was questioning me about what they did wrong. So that's what was heartbreaking, because my mom just keep asking me, what did she do wrong? Like, what did she do for me to be gay? And when I spoke to them afterward, they were like, Young, so how's things going? They're just gonna ignore the fact that I came out to them. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you time, take it slow and easy. But then every now and then, I just give them some good questions like, hey mom, I went on a date with a guy today. And hey mom, I was taking PrEP. Hey, mom, I was going to a clinic to test for my STD and STI. Like, I basically educate them one by one a little bit.
So do you talk about boys with your family and
Yeah.
your mom and dad?
Yeah, I talk about it with them, and it's kind of cool, but I show them my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah?
Yeah, so like they talk on the phone for a little bit. They don't know the language, but like they say hi to each other.
Reassuring.
I think that's really reassuring because I know that they accept it now.
So I talk to my mom all the time about dates that I go on and also just the people that I'm seeing, the friends that I'm meeting and stuff. And she is so supportive now. She climbs into my bed and then we have a little like giggle session about boys. She goes, Gab, I hate dating boys. And then I go up to her and I cuddle her and I'm like, I hate them too.
What would you say to someone who was coming out? What is one advice that you give to them?
I would say don't feel pressure to come out. Come out when you feel ready. Also make sure that you have things in place in case things do go wrong.
Yeah.
I know for me, I had the assumption that when I came out, I'd be welcomed with open arms, and that wasn't necessarily the case. So for those who are planning on coming out, just make sure that there are friends around you who can support you and also people who love and can take care of you just in case.
I feel really privileged to be coming out to my parents and they accept it, but for some people it's not really the case. I don't want to pressure anyone to come out. So my one advice is make sure that you're comfortable before coming out because you have to put your safety first. Like you don't have to come out if you don't want to.
I totally agree. Sometimes you don't even need to come out. If you know who you are, then that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, you have to accept yourself first. Sending much love though.
Lots of love.
You can see that the level of medium questions is getting a little bit harder. So next one is how do you deal with people who do not accept their sexuality? You mean like DL, like down low men who want to go on a date with you but do not accept their sexuality?
I was thinking of like just people in general who reject you.
Oh.
So I guess there are two ways. Do you wanna answer first with DL men?
Okay. For me, it took me a while to be comfortable with myself. I don't think I'm comfortable with dating people who not comfortable with themselves first because I want to go out with people who accept themselves and be comfortable with who they are. That's for me, that's a big factor. But I understand if people take time, you know, and you have to like go and experience with men before you reassure with yourself. But I think not for me, sorry.
That's absolutely fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
I agree. I think if I were to date a man, I'd like to date someone who's very open and not ashamed of themselves. How I interpreted the question was that imagine you have a family member or friend who doesn't accept you as a homosexual. They make comments and they reject you. How do you react? In that kind of stage or in that kind of sense, I probably wouldn't interact a lot with them. I like to protect my own inner peace. So if that topic were to arise, then I would just try my best to slowly ease the conversation another direction. Or I would just avoid that person in general. If they don't want to change their mind or if they're not opening to listening, I'm not going to put any energy into that.
The next question is, how long did it take for us to accept ourselves? For me, I didn't know that I was gay or bi until I was in middle school. So basically, I like these girls when I was in elementary school. So like, as kids, we just chase them around and like get their attention all the time. And there was this one boy at the end of my elementary school. I was really jealous because I think he also liked that girl at the same time.
Whoa.
So I was like, I don't like you around my girls.
Your girls.
my crush. I don't want you to be around my crush. And I was jealous at him. And I was jealous at her. It was so confusing
It
because
was a love triangle.
I was jealous at both of them at the same time. I didn't know why that was. And obviously, in my middle school, I started liking this guy, and I was like, he's really intelligent and attractive. And why do I feel this way? Because growing up, I was only around straight people, obviously, so I didn't know that I could like a boy. I really tried my best not to like that guy. I don't want to like a guy anymore. I go home and I was like, no. Starting from tomorrow, I'm not gonna look at him. I'm not gonna like this guy anymore. I'm gonna spend the time focus on the girls that I like. I couldn't resist. That's how I know it. And I think sexuality is a spectrum, right? You can like girls, you can like boys, and then you can start liking both and like it just changed. It doesn't have to stay.
So growing up in my religious community, I was actually one of our youth group leaders in my local area. So for growing up in that part of my life, I really wanted to be straight.
Same.
Every single time I had a thought about a boy, I would try and push it to the back of my head. I would actually go to church, and in Catholicism we have this thing called confession, where you'd confess your sins to a priest. So I would tell the priest about my thoughts, and I would try and suppress it as much as I could. It took me a long while to actually accept myself. Met a boy at 16, started kind of dating him secretly, and I never actually fully accepted myself until I was around 21. During university, I still wasn't comfortable telling people about who I liked and my sexuality. Only my closest friends knew.
For me, I could relate it to that a little bit because I know that I was gay at 12 and 13 years old, but I really suppressed it. I didn't really date anyone until like was 22, 23 years old. I thought that if I just ignore it, it would just pass.
No, these things don't pass. You know, this is who we are now.
Yeah, we just face it.
Yes, we tackled it.
We tackled it.
And we conquered it.
We climb on it and ride it. Are you genuinely happy?
I am genuinely happy right
Yeah.
now. So I have always actually struggled with anxiety my whole life. I've learned a lot of really good methods and approaches to managing that. And I have a really good supportive group of family and friends who love and accept me for who I am. I'm a lot less anxious now.
Oh, so proud of you.
Thank you. I am genuinely happy. I'm doing amazing things. I am studying something I love. I'm doing a PhD straight out of uni. Life is just going really well.
For me, I also feel the same way.
Yeah.
I am genuinely happy. I feel like I'm at this stage where I'm able to like pursue things that I want to and try different things out. I don't feel like I'm falling behind or peer pressure. I feel like everything is going the way that I want it to be. And I just know that one way or the other, I will reach to a point where I can be successful. I believe in myself. I strongly believe in myself, and I have a really good support system. This is the truth, a really hard truth, but I think that as a queer person, you are more likely to be lonely. You feel lonely because you feel like you are against the world. So if you find a good support system, a good group of friends who can support you all the way.
I also think that having role models online, in TV, in media is really important. So for us, we didn't feel comfortable coming out until later in our life. But I feel like that's because we never saw examples of people who were like us. We were always hidden, so we never got to see what we possibly could have been.
So that's why I hope this unfiltered Q&A can be educational and entertaining for you guys to watch. I hope they can relate it to us because we really wanted to be there for you guys.
Exactly. We love you guys.
We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you, Nhân.
Oh.
And with that, we're going to be moving on to the hard question.
These are very hard and personal questions, so I think to give us a little bit of space, I'm gonna use this banana. Either answer the questions or get hit by the banana. Like this. So the first question is, when did you first do it? You go first.
Banana me.
No, this is easy, okay? This is easy.
Very personal question. My first time was at university. I won't go into it, but yeah.
Did you know what were you doing?
No, I didn't. Everybody's first time is always a little bit scary, and everybody's fumbling around. They don't know. It was an experience. It was an experience.
Yeah.
How about you, Nhân?
I lost count. Okay, so my first time actually happened when I was 23 years old. I kind of know what I was doing because I'm a little bit more mature. But Gab, I think there's different first time giving or first time receiving.
Oh, slap me with a banana right now.
Either way, my first time doing those was quite recent, like 23 years old, so about 2-3 years ago. Kind of expecting what to do going into those things. So I would say that every first time is different. Just go with the flow. You have to be comfortable with it, okay? You have to be ready for it. Nobody can force you to do it without your consent.
Remember, it's always about consent. If you feel pressured into doing anything, you have the right to say no.
Yeah. What do you think about hooking up culture?
Hookup culture can be very, very toxic, especially in the gay community. A lot of people here tend to reduce other people, men especially, down to just pieces of meat. And of course, we're more than just a piece of meat.
Yeah.
We've got brains and personalities. And
And a good body.
hookup culture, it can be fun, but it does have a lot of baggage associated with that as well. I think if you want to hook up, at least hook up safe. So I'm a microbiologist. STIs are a thing that happen. If you are going to hook up and hook up consistently, just do your best to try and protect yourself and protect your partner or partners.
I agree with Gab. I think hooking up can be fun, but safety is the most important thing.
Exactly.
Keep yourself and your partner safe. Okay, Gab, the questions that everybody wants to know is whether or not we are top or bottom. I knew it. Every single time people comment on my videos, are you a top or are you a bottom?
First of all, guys, why do you want to know?
Why? Why do we have to distinguish?
We don't need to know.
It's not like we're gonna have anyway, right?
So in the gay community, for those who don't know, tops are usually the men who give, and bottoms are usually the people who receive. For those who want to know, I am drum roll. Not gonna answer this question. There are also people who don't like giving or receiving, but only like other things.
Wait, sorry. When we talk about giving or receiving, we talk about penetrative. But there are people, as Gab say, who doesn't want to do that.
They're called sides. These are people who don't want to participate in that. But that is still a valid way of enjoying yourself.
Yeah, like as we say, there's so many ways for us to enjoy ourselves without the traditional norm. Like you don't have to distinguish who's the man, who's the woman. That's why we're different, you know. So do not put yourself in heteronormative cookie cutter.
Yes. Also, no need to be so obsessed with positions and who we are. That's our life. This is personal stuff.
Also, like we are humans. We're not just like the little videos that you see on the screen. You know, we have our own privacy things as well. Like it hurts me a little bit when those things about myself were discussed online openly. There's so many forums that discuss this, and I don't like that.
Remember, we are more than just a piece of meat.
We are more than just pretty face, intelligent human being. Okay, next one. Cut. I can say it for Gab. He is.
I like my fruits cut. You know, I like to cut up my apples in small slices.
Because I'm from Vietnam, right? You kind of know already. The next question is, when was the last time you talked to your ex?
Oh, this is actually a funny story.
Is it really fun?
It's not very fun. So my ex and I were neighbors, and we used to go to the same gym. We hadn't talked for a really long time, but I kept bumping into him at the gym. So it was a very awkward experience. I was at the gym and I went to the toilets. I accidentally left my keys on the bench. And next thing I know, my keys were gone. And then I got a text message from my ex saying, "Hi, I thought you left. I got your keys and I dropped them off at your house. I found my keys right on my doormat." So that was the very last time we messaged or talked.
Yeah. I haven't talked to my ex in a long time. In like a year and a half, more than a year already. And I plan to keep it that way. Next questions. Do you think gay Asians are discriminated or fetishized in the UK?
That's a really good question.
It's a really good question. For me personally, I think yes, because I feel very conscious about going out with people who fetishize Asians. So whenever I go out with somebody, I usually check on their Instagram following to see if they follow the majority of Asians people. Because it happens to me. I go out with this guy and at the end when I check his Instagram later, I just see that he follow all the Asian gays and like he make it very obvious that he's very into me just because I'm Asian, not because of myself. I don't like that at all.
For me, there is a difference between finding a certain type of person attractive and also fetishization. You can find someone attractive and find certain features really attractive to you, but once those features turn sexual and that's the only thing that you look for in a partner, then that is the fine line.
Yeah.
Growing up Asian here in the UK, I have been fetishized and I have been discriminated against. In dating apps, there are actually people there who say no fats, no femmes, no blacks, no Asians. And that's discriminatory against all those groups of people. That when I go out on a date or I look for a potential partner, I look at the following list and see whether their type is Asian. And then I also talk to them and also try and understand whether it is their type or whether it is their fetish.
Yeah.
And so far, it is difficult to kind of tell between but when you get into conversation about it, it does become more and more prominent.
Yeah, I agree with Gab. I think there's a very much difference between appreciating a culture, getting to know a cultures, and fetishizing that culture. This is going to be our second to last question, so let's choose the good ones. So, what is your favorite way to make out, Gab? Let's try out.
I'm a romantic at heart, so the normal way,
Yeah.
just a normal kiss.
No, I do
think.
agree. I feel like for me, I want to get to know a person before I do anything with them. So I would love to go on a date or like going out, taking a walk. Like taking a walk is like the minimum, the bare minimum, or like having a conversation with them before doing anything. So I want to do that. So I have to know the person before making out with them.
I think the emotional connection is really important, and also the intellectual stimulation as well.
And finally, last questions. What is your one advice for young gays?
So I actually have a lot of advice for young gays. I have advice on relationships, on sexual health, and also self-image and confidence. So in relationships, I think don't rush anything. Do it at your own pace and when you feel comfortable. And then for sexual health, remember there are things like PrEP and condoms and things that you can do to make sure that you and your partner are safe. And to do with self-image and confidence, everyone is insecure about themselves, even the ones who are the most confident. So when you're out there and you're not sure, just keep in mind that these other people have the exact same thoughts as you. Okay? So you're not alone.
Yeah, I think my one advice is also very similar to Gab. Is that confidence is practice. Like everybody is insecure about themselves, but as long as you practice your confidence, as long as you work hard to become the better version of yourself, you should be proud of yourself. And I think self-confidence and believing in yourself is the key. As long as you are confident, I think people will start believing in you even more. And also trust yourself. You don't need anybody else's validations, because as soon as you trust yourself, everything will fall to its places. Oh my god, thank you so much for doing this Q&A.
No worries.
Do you want to play that last little game?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So we're going to play a game called This or That. Basically, I'm going to give Gab two options, this or that, and you have to pick one of them. Otherwise, you're going to get hit by a banana.
And we are going to describe our type of guys.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Tall or short?
Short,
Muscular or skinny?
muscular,
Intelligent or not so smart?
intelligent.
Rich or poor?
It doesn't matter.
Hairless or hairless?
Hairy.
Beard or no beard?
I like a beard.
Long hair or short hair?
Short hair.
Top or bottom?
Verse.
Pale skin or tan skin?
Tan skin.
Fashionable or not fashionable?
Fashionable.
Masculine or feminine?
I prefer a bit more mask.
Extrovert or introvert?
Extroverted.
Funny or doesn't matter?
Funny.
Cook well or order out?
Cook well.
Submissive or dominant?
I'm not gonna answer that one.
Tattoo or no tattoo?
Tattoos.
Piercing or no piercing?
Piercings.
Social media presence or absence?
Doesn't matter.
Blue eyes or brown eyes?
Brown eyes.
Spontaneous or planned?
Spontaneous.
Physical touch or not?
Physical touch.
Outdoor or indoor?
Outdoors.
Older or younger?
Older.
Drink or not?
Drink.
Smoker or not?
No, not smoker.
What's your favorite love language?
Mine is physical touch and quality time.
What's your favorite career to date?
My favorite career to date? I don't have a preference. I don't have a preference. Okay.
Okay, that's good. That's 1 minute. He answered a lot more than I planned. That's why I was like thinking about new questions.
Okay, your turn.
You have to come up with more questions as well in case I answer faster.
So now it's Young's turn for this or that. Young, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay, we're gonna start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. Tall or short?
Tall,
Muscular or skinny?
muscular,
Intelligent or not so smart?
intelligent,
Rich or poor?
financially independent.
Hairy or hairless?
Doesn't matter.
Beard or no beard?
A little bit of beard is fine.
Long hair, short hair?
Semi-long hair.
Pale or tan?
Doesn't matter.
Fashionable or not fashionable?
Fashionable.
Masculine or feminine?
A little bit more masculine.
Extroverted or introverted?
Extrovert.
Funny or doesn't matter?
Funny.
Cook well or order out?
Cook well.
Clean or dirty?
Clean.
Submissive or dominant?
Doesn't matter.
Tattoos or no tattoos?
No tattoos.
Drugs or no drugs?
No drugs.
Piercings or no piercings?
No piercing.
Social media presence or social media absence?
Doesn't matter.
Blue eyes or brown eyes?
Doesn't matter.
Spontaneous or planned?
Spontaneous and planned.
Physical touch or not?
Physical touch.
Outdoor or indoor?
Outdoor.
Older or younger?
Doesn't matter.
Drink or not?
No drink.
Smoker or not?
No smoker.
Me or Jacob?
Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it's fun and educational somewhat. Thank you, Gab, very much for answering this question with me. And it's always an enjoyable experience filming with Gab and celebrating Pride with him. So hopefully you guys can see Gab in our next videos. Also, this is Gab's social media. Please feel free to follow him, drop him any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Young, for having me. It's always a pleasure being with you. I love you, man.
I love you too. Oh, Jacob, you lost.
Thank you for watching the Young and Gab show. Mwah.